Bluebird by Isaac Taylor. For all those with eyes to see. Will, that was the name of the little boy watching the lone bluebird fly in the sky. He was a nice boy, nicer than most, never calling names or pushing other boys in the schoolyard. Yet he was a lonely boy, with only the wind and his imagination as companions. Will imagined the bluebird was much the same. "You don't have many friends either, huh?" Will smiled, sitting on his favorite park bench and kicking his little legs that couldn't touch the ground below. The bluebird chirped and landed on the bench next to the boy, cocking its head back and forth in curiosity. "How's your day been?" With a hop, the bluebird chirped, and Will sighed. "Yeah, mine too. I haven't had any luck making any friends. Mom says it's because I'm different. Special." The boy scooted towards the bird, whispering, "Do you like me?" "Oh, please don't go," Will called as the bird fluttered away and perched on a nearby tree. With a huff, the little boy playfully crossed his arms. "Humph, you don't like me either, huh?" The bird hopped on its perch with a chirp, and Will shook his head and smiled. Silly little bird. After a quick stretch, the little boy put his elbows on his knees and rested his head in his hands. Joyously curious, Will watched a fluffy squirrel scamper across the nearby cobblestone trail and journey up a tree. The young boy grinned as he looked. In the tree, leaves of vibrant greens and yellows danced with the wind and sunlight, mimicking the flowing grass on the ground below. Ants worked and frogs hopped in the grass as dainty clouds floated lazily in the sky. And all the while, Will enjoyed the lively sights before him, savoring each moment. Then he looked once more to the squirrel in the tree. "Maybe," Will spoke to himself, "he'll find some acorns up there for his tummy." "Who?" scratched an elderly voice. With a slight jump, Will sat up. "Sorry, sir, what did you say?" "Who might find acorns?" answered a kind, wrinkled man with a white cane tapping the ground in front of him. Nervous, the boy's lip quivered. The squirrel, sir. There's a squirrel in the tree." "Squirrel?" the man asked, leaning a bit on his cane. "Tree? Acorns? Are you sure?" "Well, I saw one," Will whispered, shifting in his seat. With a huff and a chuckle, the man tapped his cane on the ground. "You go on playing make-believe while you can. I like that. I like that a lot." And with a quiet tune hummed, the man shook his head and hobbled down the trail. "But I wasn't playing make-believe," Will sighed, returning his head onto his hands. "Why do they never believe me?" Chirping in response, the little bluebird glided from its perch to the park bench. "Oh, you're back! Are you ready to play with me?" The boy grinned, putting his hands together to make a bird shape. "Chirp, chirp, chirp," Will giggled as he raised his little hands in the air, waving his fingers like wings. The bird hopped off the park bench to the ground. "Oh, don't go." Too late. The bluebird spread its wings and began floating through the air, finding a perch near the fidgeting squirrel. Much to Will's amusement, the bird chirped at the squirrel and hopped playfully towards it. "Maybe he'll find a friend that can play with him," Will whispered. Still chirping at the bushy-tailed creature, the bluebird fluttered above the branch. "Silly bluebird, a squirrel can't fly with you." Dismayed, the rodent backed away and jumped to a neighboring tree. "Oh, silly bluebird," Will sighed, then called up to the bird. "If you come back down here, I'll play with you. Not many people can do what I can, either." The bird kindly sang from its perch. "You are different, and I am different." "Crazy Will, that you?" chuckled a gruff boy trudging along the trail, tapping the end of his white cane on the cobblestones. "Pfft, silly me. Of course it's you. Who else would be talking to themselves like that?" Will stuttered. "I wasn't talking to myself, Tom." "Of course, just like usual," Tom scoffed, turned, and called back, "Hey, boys! Hurry up! I found Crazy Will." From down the trail, a group of boys shuffled toward Tom and Will, tapping their white canes left and right, so making a storm of clicks upon the stones. "Talking to himself again, crazy loon," one of the boys called. Tom called back, "No doubt, a loon." I'm not a loon," Will stammered. I was talking to the bluebird in the tree." The little boy shyly smiled. "And he chirped back to me." Oh, sure, sure, we heard you near here making all sorts of loony sounds, Tom teased. Didn't we? With bustles of laughter, the other boys agreed. It wasn't me. It was the little bird. Oh, it was a bird? A bird? How ridiculous, Tom heartily sneered, tapping little Will in the tummy with his cane, while the other boys soon followed suit. Please stop, little Will timidly whimpered. I don't like that. Please stop. There really is a bird. There really is a bird. Oh, just like there really was a dog yesterday or a frog the day before. Tom laughed, giving the young boy another shove with his cane's end and singing, Will the loon lives to his tune and tells tall tales day and night. No, there really is a bird, Will murmured, curling into a ball on that bench in the park. Before long, all the boys gathered around and sang along, giving occasional jabs at little Will. Will the loon lives to his tune and tells tall tales day and night. Will the loon lives to his tune and tells tall tales day and night. Will the loon lives. And so on and so forth they went. Please stop, Will cried, keeping his little knees to his chest and cupping his small hands over his young ears. There is a bird. There is a bird, he whispered over and over in the midst of the bullying boys' maltreatment of him. Over and over. Soon bored of Will, the group's chants and jabs slowed into mere chuckles that accompanied their footsteps and cane taps as they walked away on that cobblestone trail. Little Will cried. There really is a bluebird. Really, truly, there really are trees and dogs and frogs. Will nestled his tear-filled face into his arms. Really, truly. I saw the bluebird. I saw him and talked to him. And he chirped back at me. Really, truly. With a chirp, the bluebird landed on the park bench, much to the little boy's comfort. Wiping his eyes, Will frowned. Why don't they ever believe me? You believe me, right? Well, of course you do. I was talking about you, little bluebird. They do that a lot. Those boys hurt me and stuff. I don't like it much, but I don't have a friend to help me. But Mom says I'm special. Oh, what's the word? Will scratched his head and thought. A minority. A minority? You mean a minority. A girl smiled with a sweet giggle. She hopped over to Will on one foot, her spring dress bouncing along the way. Papa said I was that, too. Who you talking to? I was... Little Will nervously shifted. Well, go on, the girl laughed, twirling her dress. Well, Oh, don't be shy. You're cute, she said as she plopped down on the bench near him. Will went, scooting the littlest bit away from her and causing the bluebird to leave for the tree perch. Don't leave, little bird. I was getting to... Will sighed and whispered to himself. You made him fly away. You were talking to a bird? The girl asked. I like doing that too, she smiled, letting her feet hang from the bench and dance in the air. Papa told me he did it too when he was little and lonely. But then he met Mama, and he said talking to birds with someone is a lot more fun. What's your name? Will whispered, rubbing his arm timidly. You don't have a cane. Oh, you're silly, Willie. The girl wrinkled her freckled nose and grinned, leaning towards Will. You don't have a cane either. I think that's why we're what Papa said. A minority. You mean a minority, Will corrected. Yep, she bounced in her seat. Oh, and my name's Lil, and I like to watch frogs the best. You watch? Well, yes, silly Willie. That's what the minority does. Don't you watch? No, Mom says that I see. Will paused. She says to me, Will, you're different. The other kids don't know puppies or squirrels, but you see. Promise me you'll be careful. Watching is part of the same thing, I think. I see, too. Lil smiled and looked at Will. So you want to be friends? I don't really have any but Bernard. Does Bernard see, too? No! Well, actually, I'm not sure. Lil shuffled around in one of her dress's pockets and pulled out a frog and began examining it closely. I think maybe Bernard sees. I don't know how to tell." With a laugh, she put the frog back in her pocket and hopped off the bench onto the trail. "You want to play with me?" "But I was—" Will looked to the little bluebird in the tree. "Oh, come on, silly Willie," Lil insisted, spreading out her arms in the air and running up and down the trail. Will looked back to the bird. "Will you be okay without me, little bird?" The bluebird chirped as another bird landed next to it. The couple chirped and hopped, then lifted into the sky, circling each other in the wind. Will smiled. "Well, I guess so." Curious, the little boy watched the girl prance and play on the cobblestone trail. "I suppose it can't hurt." "Oh, come on, Will. Fly with me," Lil exclaimed, flapping her arms up and down. "Fly and see with me." Slowly, Will looked back up to the dancing bluebirds, then back to Lil. With a nervous smile, the little lonely boy hopped off his favorite park bench, lifted his arms, and flew with the girl that could see. They flapped their arms up and down and ventured off of the cobblestone trail, around the tree, in the grass, up and down hills, and into flowers and leaves and sight.